Hello and welcome. This is the We Are Leeds.nyc podcast, but we are also going to be covering the World Cup this summer, and all things football. So you are joining us at the most New Yorkiest of moments because the Knicks, after 53 years, have just won the NBA. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's like Leicester winning the Premier League or something like that. Not quite, but the Knicks have been a dominant team, but they've never done it since I've been in New York since '92, and they haven't done it since 1973. So the city has been electric. I've been following it with friends over the years, and we just got used to disappointment. I felt bad for my friends who thought they were never going to see this happen. But while the Knicks went on this amazing run, this amazing unprecedented run, and the city came alive, so started the World Cup. So the two have been overlapping in this amazing experience of sport loving and fandom. And just take a look. This has been going on just the last week. So it's great to watch. New York is alive right now, and the games are beginning to heat up because, as we said, we started on June 18th, and we started with the first game, which was between Mexico and South Africa. And Mexico is one of the host teams, along with the United States and Canada. So you want to see the host team do fairly well. And this game definitely delivered as an opening game. Within, I don't know, the first half or the first 60 minutes, South Africa had two red cards, and then Mexico, for some reason, wanted to join in the fun. They had the game under control, and then they got a red card themselves towards the end of the game. But the great thing about it was, I don't think the fans and Legends cared. For those of you who don't know, Legends is one of the sports bars in New York. It's where Leeds, the home of Leeds United, but close to 30 clubs have their home there. So about 6 Premier League clubs, a bunch of different clubs across Europe, South America, etc. So it's always buzzing, it's always lively. I didn't know what to expect, in fairness, coming into the World Cup. I thought for some reason, Mexico, I thought they might be out in the outer boroughs. They might not be in Manhattan. How wrong I was. There was such a huge line outside the door, and I don't think Mexico cared about the red cards. Definitely not the folks in Legends anyway. They were loving it and loving it being the host nation and getting their 3 points. Sounds like fun. And what is the most destroying thing is that was taking place down in Mexico City. And who should have been there in Mexico City? It's like, that's right, should have been the Irish. However, we were having a Cinderella bit of a campaign, and it was going to be a beautiful story. And then we messed it up against the Czech Republic. We had done the hard work. We had beaten Portugal 2-0. We had beaten Hungary in the last kick of the game 3-2. And we were cruising. We were ahead of the Czech Republic 2-0, and we gave away a stupid penalty, let them into the game, and then we went out in penalties. So we would have been down in Mexico City. So it's such a shame, and instead now we're kind of looking like this. So it's not sour grapes, but because it still is great watching the fun in the World Cup. But we would have been competing against Korea and Mexico down there, and it's not as though the Koreans and the Mexicans aren't bringing the fun, because Korea and Mexico seem to have some kind of affiliation, because 2 World Cups ago, Mexico needed Korea to beat Germany 2-0 for Mexico to advance. I think that's the story. And they did. They beat Germany 2-0. Mexico advanced. So since then, they've had this great respect for Korea, and they've got this great partnership and this great connection. Now Mexico did beat Korea 1-0 the other night, but Korea will still have their points. They still will advance to the next round, and one was sure. But it has been great watching them enjoy each other. And they're not the only ones that are bringing the crack. Obviously, the Tartan Army has come on in droves, kind of the same way that Ireland would have. And can you imagine if it was Ireland and the Scots? But now the burden is on the Scots to bring the crack, and they are not disappointing. just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure you guys can find. I've been seeing it on your socials how they've drank Boston Dry of Gargle, how they're beguiling the whole Boston city. People have asked, do I want Scotland to win the World Cup? I was like, no, that's not necessary, because then if Scotland wins, then why couldn't Ireland win? But I do want them to do well. I do have an affinity with the Scots. I do want England to do well because half my family is English and a lot of my mates are English. But then there's a little bit of a history there. So you don't want them to be getting into the final because then it's a little bit too close. But I will be happy for them if they do a deep run, and I think it will be great for them, especially seeing as the hopes aren't as high as they were a few years ago. It's hard to know who's the favourite this year. It's pretty open because no one has landed their opening. Everyone has a little bit of the jitters. Like Spain has had a bit of the jitters. France haven't looked amazing. England have looked convincing, but with caveats. They were two great Croatian goals, but everyone is looking potentially a little bit leaky. It's like, who could I tolerate winning? I'd love to see an African team do well, a North African team to do really well. I'd love to see them win it. I think that would be great for football to open it up. I asked some of my English mates, would you like to see an African team win? And they're like, no. I was like, oh, why not? It's like, not until we get our second, our second star, our second World Cup, and that's fair enough. I don't know what it's like to be able to be from a country that wins a World Cup, so I think that's fair. But I think the African teams that could do well are Senegal. Egypt had a great win today, and that's how things can change on a dime. Egypt started this game at the bottom, New Zealand then at the top, and by the second half, Egypt were on the top, and now New Zealand are on the bottom. So me trying to predict or tell you who's going to be going into the next round is a fool's errand. But as you know, there are 8 rounds of 4. Those games will finish this upcoming Saturday, and then we get into the knockout competitions. Now, what happens in the knockout competitions is the first 2 teams are going to qualify. That's 24 teams. Then the next 8. So if you're something like Sweden or Scotland, you can see you guys are up the top with 3 points. Now, obviously, it's going to change because there's still a lot of football to be played. We're only halfway through the group stage. A lot of teams have only played 1 game, so we're not even halfway through yet. So that table can change. But if you've got 3 points in your group, the chances of you going into the next round are quite high. So don't be bemoaning the fact. Sport is all about disappointment. Qualifying for the playoffs is all about going up, going down, but making sure that you keep your goal difference intact. Don't get a beating like Sweden did yesterday against the Netherlands and lose 5-1. But Sweden are okay because they beat Tunisia 5-1. I think a couple of these games are flattering to deceive. I don't think Sweden are potentially that great. I don't think Tunisia are that bad. I don't think the Netherlands are that great. And I don't think Sweden is that bad. Sweden had a horrible first 20 minutes. I don't know what was going on with them, but those first 2 Dutch goals were so preventable. They seemed to be just like, think they were playing at a training ground, but they are safe. Scotland are safe. And then we'll take a look at this table towards the end of the week and just see where the most likely 8 teams to qualify for the playoff rounds are going to be. So it's also one of the good reasons why Ireland hasn't qualified, because I think it would be mortifying if you came to the World Cup and you couldn't get out of the group stage. 48 teams, 32 teams. It's mortifying enough that we don't qualify, but we have to play against all the European teams, whereas the United States, yeah, they always qualify, but it's not a strong division. So that's why the United States are always going to be in the World Cup, and a team like Ireland, granted we have only 4 million people, but is going to, or something like that, maybe 5, but is always going to struggle. So one of the teams that I would be okay winning are the Netherlands, because remember in 1978 when they played Argentina in the final, it was, my memory is just of a sea of orange and the blue and white of Argentina, and it was pretty kind of magical. And in my head I always thought that the Dutch had one before, but they haven't. So I wouldn't bemoan them winning the World Cup. And also because they are the land of Johan Cruyff. for those of you who don't know, Johan Cruyff he's right up there with Pele and Maradona in pioneering the modern game. I think Messi is out on his own, but Johan Cruyff has a special place in everyone's football anthology, everyone's football heart, because what he did for the game. Really, it's also great to see the three host teams doing really well. Mexico earned 6 points, United States earned 6 points, and Canada earned 4 points. That means the three of those teams are assured and to advance into the playoff stages, which is great for the host team, and I think it's just great for the tournament overall. I think if the US do a deep run, I think that's what will get a lot more people interested stateside. A lot more people, Americans who don't usually support football, will start taking a closer look. But for those who do follow the US national team, there's a lot to be cheering for at the moment. USA! 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 So the USA are led by Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino's Argentine. He has coached all over Europe, including Germany, France, and the Premier League. He was the coach for Tottenham Hotspur and Paris Saint-Germain. So it's great seeing these coaches also with these multiple different identities and multiple different affiliations. Jesse March, the coach of the Canada national team, he is also a US national, played for the US national team in the World Cup, and has coached in Germany many club teams, and has coached Leeds United. Didn't work out so well for us with Jesse, but now he's doing really well with the national team. Whether these guys are great managers, I don't know, but if they do a deep run in the World Cup, they will be anointed great managers and will have no problem finding work after this. Also, one of the things that people ask, why football? Why is it so big? Yes, it's not the only sport to bring people together, as we've seen with the New York Knicks, but it is the only real international sport that combines every country on the planet. So yes, there are other sports that are cosmopolitan, are international, but nothing does it like football. And especially you can see this coming alive in a city like New York, where every identity, every national group is represented. But it's not just that, it's how every other country is kind of like vouching kind of for the other. There's so many different identities going on in this country and in this World Cup and in this city that it's a joy to watch. But the great thing about it is I'm out there talking to folks after every game, and you don't have to take my word for it.
When you ride the victories and when you suffer the defeats together, you create a friendship, a camaraderie, something special that I think cannot be matched in anything else.
Then we're all kind of supporting each other. That's what I see. I think it's been phenomenal.
It's harmony, it's party, it's happiness.
Where are you from?
Like
Bangladesh. You're from Bangladesh?
Yes.
You're not even Brazilians?
No.
Okay.
But in the mind of we are Brazilian supporter.
I think it makes you feel proud as a nation. I love when they sing the national anthem at the beginning.
It's like a calling. It's like the clan gathering, and we're all coming together, one big happy clan, and we're loving it.
It's about experiencing something good together.
It gives us a sense of belonging to something that's bigger than you.
Football is look like our emotion.
Football is life.
Indeed, football is life, and we'll keep on living, and we'll keep on representing, and we'll keep going to the games in New York, and keep talking to as many folks as we can, and we'll keep bringing it back to you. All right, folks, have a great weekend, and we will chat during the week. Take care.